Hello, everybody. Welcome to our open office hours. I am so glad that the week is almost done. I think I always say that, but I mean, who isn't ready for the weekend?
Sam likes her job here. It's just a lot.
I do really like my job.
Because we had our 3.7 launch. You saw us Monday streaming live. This is your deja vu. We're here 2 times this week. But it has been a busy week because of that launch, which is cool. We didn't know that was happening when we scheduled this event, but that's fine. Here we are, taking a breather from all of the documentation work you've been doing, Sam, to do a totally different shift gears kind of presentation today.
Yes, it's awesome. So today specifically, we're going to be talking about choosing your email marketing system. We'll shorten that to EMS throughout the open office hours just because it's a mouthful. But this topic was actually brought up in an open co-working that we host for our Slack community twice a month. And oh, good, Robert, you're in the chat as I'm talking about you. So Robert, Quinte Landlords, did bring this to us in the community co-working, and basic question of how do I pick which email marketing system is going to be the best for my membership? There are a lot of options out there, and it can be a very overwhelming decision. So Kim has a presentation, and we're going to try to do this as unopinionated as possible. Of course, we have our own tool that we have our own tools in our bucket that we use. So there is a little bit of preference there just because that's what we are familiar with, but that may not be what you're familiar with. So without further ado, I'm going to share Kim's screen and I'm going to let her take it away.
Trying to turn down the heat. I feel like I'm in like a hot box in this room.
You want to be in a sauna and just sweat it out?
I know by the end of this, you'll be like, why did Kim look so messed up? No. Yeah. Thank you for the intro, Sam, while I troubleshooted my thermostat here. But yes, the reason we should be it is because I think largely every platform has about the same features. There are some things that make each one a little better fit for certain use cases, but I think it's really this personal preference thing, which is why my opinions don't matter with respect to this. What works for me may not work for you. What works for my team may not work for you or your team. So the opinions we have are because of the systems we need, the number of people that interact with our EMS, the size of our list, the frequency of the emails that we send, the variety of the different sequences that we send, as well as those bespoke one-off emails that we send to you all as well. I mean, I think we're in your inbox almost daily if you're truly an engaged subscriber to our list. So opinions here don't matter so much as, does this sound like you? Use this. Does this sound like you? Use this. So less about opinions, more about who you are, what you need, where you think you're growing to. So we'll touch on all of that. So
yeah, and towards the end of this presentation, there is a quiz that I'm going to drop in the comments. That way you can take a quiz to figure out which EMS might be right for you based on a series of questions. I think it's really short, less than 5 minutes.
And it's less about, it doesn't give you a single answer. It just narrows the field. You're not looking through 200 EMS. You're looking for maybe 5. So yeah, we'll probably touch on the ones that's going to recommend to you anyway. So yeah, here. All right. So I'm just going to dive right in. We always like questions when they come up. It's the most organic and natural way. This isn't a wait till the end Q&A session, although we will make space for that. But yeah, email. It's one of the most important components after the membership site itself, after the communications that the membership sites send and the experience you offer on your site. Email is that one direct way that you can still engage your members audience, your potential member audience. It's just the direct way to contact them. There really isn't any other channel that you can use in this way. You can't use social media and expect everyone to see everything that you post. Even if they're an engaged follower of your social media account, you can't expect the algorithm to actually deliver your messaging to them through social media. If you are a local organization, of course, events and in-person is something. We largely work with people that run virtual memberships that don't have an in-person component. But still, email is the way that they find out about what those events are. It's hard to keep people coming back to your website just of their own decision. Like, I wonder if anything new is happening at Pay Memberships Pro today. But email is the way that you stay front and center in their minds. So why does it matter to have an EMS in addition to your membership site, or at least within your membership site? It's a list that you own. So your social media followers list, you could have your account revoked and lose that connection to those people. You could have started a Substack, which is a type of email kind of thing, a competitor to Paid Memberships Pro. Same thing. They could decide that your content was inappropriate and take it down through no fault of your own, even if you aren't doing inappropriate things. Or just that algorithm could change on the Substack side. The pricing could get to a point where you're like, oh no, I want to export everyone. And whether or not that's possible, really take those email addresses, those individual members back internally. That's a question of each place that you decide to kind of build your audience at. And for us, Jason has this saying, every time I send an email, I make, what does he say, Sam? $1,000 or something? I don't know. We don't know if that's true, but it's a feeling that when we engage someone who's kind of been quiet frequently and we're constantly sending them different stuff. How about this? Do you like this? How about this event? How about this launch of this thing? Have you considered this? Here's a new add-on. One of those might resonate with someone and cause them to come back to the site and decide to convert and become an active member of your site. So it definitely traces back to revenue, even for renewals, even for relaunching other things. It's just, I can't stress it enough. Does anyone think email is dumb?
I don't think email is dead. That's for sure. That's like a big thing, like a big sentence that I'm always hearing is email is dead. In regards to what Jason says, I don't know the dollar amount that he says, but I do know that his other like quote that just sticks in my mind is, if we do nothing else for marketing, we send at least one email a week, period.
That's right.
That's it. Like,
yeah. I should have put those on the slides.
Anything else in marketing happens, but we have to send one email a week at least.
Yes. And Christy's not here, but she's the one most often writing them, ghostwriting them as me, ghostwriting them as Sam, sending them as herself. So yeah. So what are we doing with email? We're using it to welcome and onboard new members. And I'll talk a little about the emails Paid Memberships Pro sends and what else you can do to supplement that. So in marketing, we talk about onboarding, and we also talk about something called activation. So I'll refer to these during this talk. Onboarding is someone set up to engage with your membership, aware of how to access the benefits, the value you're delivering for them. And then activation is different for every business, but it's kind of that point where you're like, they're kind of past the point of, are they in, are they out? Are they stepping their toe into the shallow end of your membership? Or would you say that they're activated? For Pay Memberships Pro, we say that's when you get your first paying member. So if you're using our plugin just for a free membership site, that's great. We kind of would prefer to track, and it aligns with our North Star metric, that you're activated as a Paid Memberships Pro site when you get that first paying member. That just means the whole thing is set up. You have a gateway connected, and you have a single human being wherever they live on this planet that was willing to give you their money for the thing of value that you are selling on your site. So to us, that's what activation looks like. If you're in chat and you're not at that point, send us a message. We have tons of resources to get you past those stuck points. So it's kind of at the start of the membership, email is super important. And then ongoing, delivering that content, keeping people engaged, making sure they don't forget that you have cool stuff and where to access it, and that you're still doing stuff, you're vibrant. One thing a lot of people say about Pay Memberships Pro is they love that we do these events, that we are launching new products, that we have a community. We're alive. We're not just a thank you for the software, goodbye. It's not buying coffee at a store and leaving with your coffee and the relationship is severed. So I think email plays a large part. Email that your membership site sends, of course, renewal reminders before billing comes up, so you're not charging people if they don't want to remain active and incurring those gateway fees to refund them, unfortunately. And then the re-engagement of people that have lapsed, let their memberships expire or cancel. How do we get those people back in our nexus? Because there is an aspect of that is a mistake, a passive churn. Yeah. Okay. Next step, let's talk about the 2 types of email your site is sending. This is like kind of a confusing part because people are like, oh, I'll use this tool to send the emails. Like you actually need 2 tools. Unfortunately, it's not as simple as just saying, that's my EMS, all my email goes through them. A membership site has what's called transactional email. So those are the emails that are sent by the Paid Memberships Pro system or by your WordPress site or by other plugins that are handling kind of transaction-based things. If you have an events plugin where people sign up for an event, it's a transactional email that gets sent to say, you're registered, here's the event details. When people sign up for membership, they get an email confirmation, whether it's a free or paid checkout. That's a transactional email. The reason we have to distinguish these 2 is because there's legal requirements for each. And there's benefit to having them be separate, at least the sending service and the experience of it, because members need to continue to receive transactional email. They don't necessarily need to stay engaged on your marketing list. And we see that in Paid Memberships Pro also. We send a lot of email. We allow people to customize their preferences or unsubscribe for everything, but they will still receive transactional email. They'll still receive a receipt when a recurring payment processes. They'll still receive an email if a support ticket gets updated with a reply. They'll receive an email if their membership cancels, all of that stuff. So we like when the WordPress site can handle the transactional email and you get a good sending service behind that. I won't talk too much into sending services, only at one point where there's a platform option that can handle both of these, which is very rare. And then the marketing side of things is handled by this EMS, email marketing system. All of those things like the sequences that trigger after they sign up, all of the manual emails you're sending to people, those require consent to join, which is a loose thing. We had Dylan on, maybe we'll put a link to that, about the double opt-in. What does he call it, Sam?
I don't remember
Reverse opt-in, double opt-in. I don't know. Yeah, so it varies by location. If you are in the EU, you might have unique GDPR requirements that require consent in addition to just signing up on your site. For us, we believe that membership sign up on the site is an engagement to say, like, I am subscribing to you. And we believe that registering someone in the marketing system is a fair decision at that point. That can be a decision you make with your team. But yeah, that's all that marketing stuff. We don't want to confuse the transactional emails with the marketing. So questions about that distinction? And we're going to focus on the marketing today. I won't go too much into that. So the reason, I'll talk a little bit, I said have separate systems. It has a lot to do with sending reputation. So we use email marketing systems. They're hosted services. They have relationships with email inbox clients like Microsoft, like Gmail, like Yahoo. People still have Hotmail email addresses, and they work on managing the reputation. AOL, that's also, we see that too. So they do a lot of work making sure that not only does the content of your email follow the rules and have all of the legal requirements, an address, a way to unsubscribe, but also that the sending service behind it all, which I'm a little vague on, but my understanding is there's like unique IP addresses that get sent from, and those servers are, they have to keep them protected, or else your failure email, your emails that get reported as spam trickle into other people on that same IP address at their sending service. So they do a lot to make sure your emails look right. They have the required information on it, and that if emails bounce, they're not going to keep sending to them. That's also a risk of lowering your sending reputation. Like that high unsubscribes, high reports of spam, that tanks the score also. So if you were to use the same sending service for your transactional and your marketing all inside your WordPress site, and that marketing email gets reported a lot as spam or has a lot of issues with deliverability, that means all of your transactional emails are also at a major risk of not getting delivered. So, right, we just launched email logging in Paid Memberships Pro. We have people saying, oh, these emails aren't going out. Members aren't receiving them. And the email log shows that it was successfully sent. So where's the breakdown here? That customer's email client, for whatever reason, maybe rejected the email or put it into some kind of filtered inbox that was a holding area. It was like, this looks suspicious. This doesn't look like regular email that a human would send you and stuck it over here. So we don't want members to not receive transactional email. So if you can keep your transactional email sending at a high reputation and your marketing email gets handled by the sending service you use, you're in good shape. Kim liked this joke, but yeah, shipping trucks and party buses. You might have both of these things, but they have to travel on different roads. Yeah, she was like, that's funny. All right. So we're starting to get into the how do we choose phase. A lot of the hosted services we'll talk about, like Kit, ActiveCampaign, Mailchimp, names you've heard, Brevo. They have tiers based on how many subscribers you have. And it may not be an exact match to the numbers of members in your site. You might have 10,000 members and only 5,000 of them stay subscribed and engaged in your marketing email list. So think about when you're trying to choose how many subscribers are you likely to have a year from now, 2 years from now. Just like changing a membership platform is an awful, don't do it thing. Changing an email marketing platform is also an awful thing. The more ingrained you are in it, the more you have set up, the harder that becomes. Not impossible. We've done it. We might do it again in the future. But I would look at pricing and those inflection points and just think about that. Along with that, not only subscriber, but volume of emails sent per month. If you are price sensitive and only sending one email per month, some of these platforms don't charge you per email send. Send one every hour. We don't care. We're going to look at the number of subscribers you have. Others track pricing based on the number of sends per month. So if you have 10,000 members, but send one email to them per month, you might realize that you're better off with a certain platform price-wise because you're not taking full advantage of the unlimited sends in one of the platforms. So think about that. We're also going to talk about some that are natively built into WordPress and some that live on a third-party site. So Kit, for example, I think they're working on actually creating newsletters inside their WordPress plugin, but currently the Kit creation of emails, automation sequences happens in their website. There's still a relationship. Your WordPress site's still talking to Kit, but you will leave your WordPress site and go create in that platform. Then there are the WordPress native ones. We'll talk about them. MailPoet, for example, the newsletter plugin, Newsletter Glue, FluentCRM are all WordPress native. So just like you add pages and posts in your site, you can say add new broadcast. So think about that. I just said the word broadcast, so I'll jump to that. Some email platforms are better at doing automation. So tagging and sending a special email based on a tag that someone gets at a time, or just doing a broadcast only. So that's like Christy going in and saying, what are we talking about this week? The 3.7 launch, great. I'll draft the email, I'll go into Kit, I'll write it, I'll choose the audience, and we'll set it to distribute on this day and time. So if you don't think you're ever doing any automations, any sequences, ignore looking at that in the platforms you're looking at. If that doesn't feel like you, more often with like a paid newsletter site, they would be hand curating. Like the full value of it is that hand curated email. Maybe it's time sensitive. You do stock tips for the week and trading advice for investing. You're not really having an automation there. There is the whole value of your membership is that time sensitive, instant email. It's not something you're going to set up this automation queue of. Nobody wants to know what your tips were for 2024. They only want the fresh new news. So think about if you'll really leverage the features, those advanced features that some of these platforms offer, or if you do test them out, you don't like the way they work, that's okay, because you're not going to be using them anyway. As far as this tagging, every system has a different way that it organizes its subscribers. But the most common way with Paid Memberships Pro that I recommend is give everyone a unique tag for every level that they have. So there's no difference among all the platforms we'll talk about here, whether that's true or false. If they have a tag based on level, then you can do most of the segmenting that you need. Others will have the ability to track if they've made purchases and the volume of the purchase or the price they paid. Do you need all of that? Are you going to segment that deeply? Some also have engagement tracking. So they would be able to tell you who are my 5-star highly engaged list subscribers and who are my cold people. I think they all have that pretty much, but it's just another area to think about. How deeply am I going to segment the emails that I'm sending? And am I overcomplicating things, or is it enough that I just have the level at this point?
Excuse me. I could be wrong, Kim, but I also think in regards to the price of the number of subscribers, there are some EMSs that also charge per segmentation. And so if one member is in multiple segmentations, you may be paying additional money for that one person.
Yeah,
in
that's
some
the
options.
current Mailchimp integration, which needs updating. If you were using it through WP Fusion, which we'll get to, you won't face this issue. But our current Mailchimp integration is written for a legacy version of their API, and you're exactly right. You rather than tags, the segments they like duplicate the member, so you do pay double if someone has 2 membership levels in the Mailchimp. If you're using our add-on, which is outdated, don't use it. Use the WP Fusion direct integration. But that's totally right, Sam. Yeah. Developer available. I think if you're building within the WordPress side of things, any features that don't exist in the email sending service of choice may have the ability, just like Pay Memberships Pro, to customize it with custom code. If you have a developer on team and are going that route and you're exploring these WordPress native options, there might be ways to get the functionality you want. If it's just one small thing, you're like, I need changed. It's very possible that there'll be a code-based solution. As far as all the hosted options, you're not going to see a need to use code or really do anything with code on those options. And then look at the free tier options. We'll show some. There are some that can give you free sending. I think it's MailPoet, Sam, that can do up to 1,000
MailPoet
per
is
month.
one of them. Yes.
Yeah. And then also FluentCRM or the newsletter plugin or newsletter glue. If you're attaching it to Brevo as your sending service, Brevo also has, I think, a pretty inexpensive free tier. So it's not the only thing. I don't think we should make decisions based on the price of things. If you chose Paid Memberships Pro because it's free, I don't think that was the right choice. I think you should choose it because it's going to fit your business overall. And the fact that it's open source is a benefit and an exciting thing. But this is something you're going to have to use a lot. And the more painful it is to use the EMS you choose, the less inclined you are to use it, the less engagement you'll get through email, that direct channel we were talking about. So it's kind of one of those things. Don't go cheap on hosting. Don't go cheap on EMS, because there's kind of a demotivation that happens when we're fighting against the tool we chose. We don't want that to happen to you. So yeah, I think, yeah. So what do you need? The quiz that Sam's going to link to, it asks about some of these questions. You might have a few here that just stand out to you. You might have an answer to all 6 of how you feel personally, but you can't have everything you want. So always when we're making decisions, we have to kind of prioritize what matters most and then make sure the thing that fits matches that. So these are the options. We've been toying around with some of them. You always know you have the built-in email options in Paid Memberships Pro. That's going to send your transactional email. You don't need an EMS for that. You do need a sending service. So be aware of that. Be aware of if you're sending through like your host, or if you have a connected SMTP plugin of some kind to do your deliverability. And then all these other ones and many, many, many more we are talking about. So MailPoet, native WordPress newsletter plugin, has integration for Paid Memberships Pro built in, also native. FluentCRM has a premium version that you have to have to get the Paid Memberships Pro integrations. It's all managed by them. Our team can kind of help once you have it, but it doesn't come with Paid Memberships Pro. It's not an add-on that we offer. So if you've chosen the FluentCRM product, they also have a Fluent SMTP. So they go hand in hand, those 2 plugins, to connect the sending service for your marketing email, the native WordPress email marketing setup of all your newsletters. Just be aware that that's a premium plugin. Kit and Mailchimp are probably the industry leading names you've heard of for broadcast newsletters and automations in email marketing as hosted platforms. I have tabs up here. We can take a look at both of them. And the similar pricing, it's based on the audience, not by the sends. So take advantage of that. Send a lot of email. Do what we do. Kit does say they have a free tier up to the first 10,000 subscribers. Just be aware that that could change at any time. Be aware. MailChimp, I said we have an add-on for. Kit, we also have an add-on for. MailPoet, we have an add-on for. WP Fusion is a really great option if you're looking for an EMS that doesn't have a native Paid Memberships Pro integration. There actually, it says 100 here. I looked, there was 200 platforms that WP Fusion integrates with. And WP Fusion acts as the glue between your EMS and your WordPress site, your members list in Paid Memberships Pro, and has a lot of advanced ways to tag subscribers and subscribe them to things based on actions in the site. So not only membership level tagging, which we talked about, but also level changes. So cancellations, when someone becomes expired, it can do tagging. It's all done by editing your levels in Paid Memberships Pro, and it's all included in Paid Memberships Pro Core. So your site would need to install the WP Fusion plugin, have Paid Memberships Pro active, and then you'd be able to connect that all.
Yes, and if you do research WP Fusion, you will see that Paid Memberships Pro is part of their premium WP Fusion option, but we actually have an agreement with WP Fusion to override that. So like Kim was saying, you just need to have both of them installed and activated, and you will be able to use WP Fusion with PMPro.
Yeah, which is super nice. And you won't need a separate plugin to connect the sending service. WP Fusion allows you to connect that right away. So kind of my favorite setup right now, which we don't yet do, is WP Fusion, Brevo as the transactional and marketing email sending service, and Paid Memberships Pro. So bridging all those together. And loads more. Keep also was a recently rebranded, used to be Infusionsoft. OmniSend, you might see them around the WordPress space. They've been recently doing a lot of WordPress marketing. OmniSend offers text messaging in addition to email. Brevo also offers text messaging. This is not a conversation about whether you should or should not text your members. But if you ever think you're going to run promotions of that type and engage members through text messaging, that's a little asterisk. Maybe think about that. Up to you. Cool. Questions? The Kim Talk Show. Usually I'm demoing. Now I'm like Italian hands talking lady, which is great.
There's no questions other than Ryan says that MailPoet is nice, except not being able to CC or BCC. And but that's not necessarily needed for newsletter sending. It just makes it harder for all mail sending if you were to also use their sending service for the transactional emails inside PMPro.
Okay. Yeah, and I wonder if you can set up MailPoet to send only their emails and then connect like Brevo, the WordPress Brevo plugin, to do the transactional piece. I didn't know that. And we just added CC and BCC in 3.7. That stinks. Yeah. That brings up this other interesting thing people often ask for in Paid Memberships Pro is like, I want to email a member from the dashboard. Like you're on the edit member screen. People ask to be able to just draft something, a nice update, and send it right there. People also ask for an automation to send new content when it's published. So some of these actually support that through RSS-based campaigns. I'm planning to record a tutorial of myself setting that up. But there are other ways
I didn't think about the first one. I want that.
Yeah.
Now what will happen because Sam has requested.
Open your email editor. Yeah, that's right. It would happen if you needed it, Sam, I promise. So we kept tiptoeing around these, but I think these are the three that most come up in our support, not because there's issues with them, but because they're the most commonly used. So if we look at MailChimp, they do have a free tier for the 500 contacts and a sending limit of 1,000 sends per month. So what is that, 2? Our add-on can sync people by level to the lists, like Sam said, but you are better off using WP Fusion with MailChimp in Core Paid Memberships Pro so that they're all in one list in MailChimp until we get that add-on updated. Kit is what we use in our own site because we have almost 60,000 subscribers. I just did a big cold list subscriber, bye-byes too. But we have, I think, 55,000 people, and we send, I looked, it was like over 300,000 emails a month among them, because we send so many, maybe like more like 1 million. You can look, Sam, probably. They give you like a 90-day history. I think it said we'd sent 1.9 million emails in 3 months, which is a ton of email. But a lot of that is automation and sequences that we have queued up.
2 million emails sent in the last 90 days.
2 million in 90. Okay, my math is really bad. 2 million divided by 3 is more like 650, 700,000 people or emails per month. Those are all those sequences we have set up. I can't show you them because I'm scared. I could try. I'm just scared I'm going to show you real subscriber information, which I do not want to do today. But I can talk through some of them at the end if we have time and you're just curious what automations we have set up in our site. Yeah, so Kit supports very large volume membership sites, and the tagging and the automation and the rules, we struggle with it. It's like the devil, at this point for us. But it is, I think, for that or active campaign for membership sites operating at a scale like PMPro is, that's your good choice. And then MailPoet being the native WordPress option, the one I've used the most among the native WordPress options that we've talked about today. We are talking about building one ourselves. So if being able to CC BCC on just the sends of things, I think what you said was that it wasn't the marketing email that you needed that feature for, but because MailPoet takes over the entire distribution of email across the whole WordPress site, that kind of stinks. So I want to be mindful if we do create our own native PMPro newsletters add-on that we would correctly label which are transactional and which are part of a marketing type email and still apply the allowing to CC BCC. Someone in our community and a developer that builds membership sites shared that the newsletter plugin stopped allowing attachments, and that was frustrating to them. I think it was because people were doing bad things with attachments. So they were like, as a system, they said no more attachments on emails. But that was frustrating because they send like an ICS file, a calendar, add to calendar file with their events that they send, and members need that. It was really helpful for members to have that, get the email and see right away, that add to calendar button that the inboxes can recognize when you send an attachment of that type. Yeah. If you are sending email and you need attachments, raise a hand, because I want to make sure that whatever feature we do build or whatever recommendations we make for you here would include the option to include attachments.
Before you go on, Kim, I'm actually going to stop sharing your screen, and I'm going to address the number of questions that we have in the chat right now.
Okay.
Thanks. I don't. Marielle, maybe? Sorry if I butchered your name. Do you work with MailerLite? I am not seeing a integration with MailerLite, but it does look like WP Fusion is an option to bridge those two.
Yeah, we actually, I think there's a content piece sitting on the content queue, Sam, to write that up. Our active campaign WP Fusion guide would be the same steps for MailerLite.
I can get that.
So if we share the WP Fusion one, and someone else asked about tutorials for WP Fusion. So the active campaign tutorial is all the steps to configure it. WP Fusion has tons of these tutorials as well. So by following a WP Fusion MailerLite setup guide, that would allow you to get your site connected to MailerLite, and then you would follow the WP Fusion docs on our site to set up the logic between member tagging at all the different stages that WP Fusion supports in there, that side. So there's like the setup of the email marketing system, and then there's the PMPro integration part. And any WP Fusion guide, I'll try to find are you finding the WP Fusion?
I found the active campaign one, and then I'm also sharing a link to the WP Fusion add-on page, because I believe that has a video demo and basic guidance of setting up WP Fusion with PMPro. And I mean, things will be slightly different depending on what connection you're doing, but this is a good base foundation.
Yes. We just link bombed the chat. Sorry, everyone.
I'm sorry. Okay. So Doug is wondering, when using an EMS, who protects both the site as well as the member with regards to privacy? I like the email newsletter idea and will use it sparingly. Transactional stuff is a no-brainer.
I think explain more about the privacy concerns you have. I think GDPR is based in, who is sending this, was it agreed to, and is there a way to stop receiving it? So that is kind of the legal where the FCC gets involved in the United States and where GDPR laws get involved in the EU. If you think of privacy in terms of security, is that like who can log into your membership site, who can view subscribers in your list, and that kind of thing? If it's about like how people opt in, you can think about that. There's ways in all of these systems when people get subscribed, whether they are immediately subscribed to the list or if they need to click a link to confirm joining the list. That was that double opt-in thing that Dylan talks about in his presentation. So maybe tell me what you're most concerned about in the world of privacy here, and we can dig into that piece a little bit more.
I'll look for a follow-up comment from Doug on that one.
Cool. And Doug was our early watcher. Me and Sam, when we got in, yes, we said, there's someone here already. So thank you for the early join, Doug. We were looking at you and smiling. We never know what topics will be interesting. I think this is showing like 22 people just on YouTube watching right now. Sometimes there's 8 and they're all my team. So thanks for showing up.
Thanks for being here. Natasha is asking, will we get a copy of this video when we are done? This will stay live on our YouTube channel, so you can always refer back to it. And in addition to that, I believe if there's already not a blog post up, there will be a blog post, and the video will be on that blog post as well for easier accessibility to find it. So,
and I think I'm also gonna, my presentation, my outline originally, I just rambled into my iPhone Notes app for 10 minutes about what I wanted to cover here. And then I had Claude draw me an outline. And Claude said, this is going to be a great one-day workshop. And I said, oh no, we have 1 hour. We don't have 1 day. So we had to cut a lot of the deeper dive stuff. You might feel like this is a deep dive. I can go even deeper on this topic. So I'm trying to shape all of that rambling into something richer. And maybe it'll be an ebook. Maybe we'll do another Kindle. We'll see. I don't know what formats are working yet. We keep trying.
Okay. We touched the question of good WP Fusion tutorials and guides. That's where I link spammed the chat, so I do apologize. Lisa, will the constant contact integration be updated, or is this the case for using WP Fusion as well?
For now, use constant contact, use WP Fusion. I think always use WP Fusion if you like that tagging on expiration, cancel, level change, all the depth of that. The way that we're choosing to do our email marketing integrations now, Kit is the model for it. So that was the most recently rewritten plugin. So now we originally were like, do we need all these? WP Fusion exists. But I think there is a simplicity and a beauty to the Kit add-on and how that works. It keeps you kind of focused on things because it's great to add all these tags to all these members at all these points in time. But then I think we hyper-focus on, are we using these tags? Are we writing great sequences at all these phases of things? Did I go down?
Oh, you froze for a second. I was like, I don't know if she's thinking really hard or...
Hope it wasn't making a really weird face.
No, it was literally just like... I was like, oh, she's like really thinking about it.
I don't know what I was saying. Yeah. I like
I'm not
the
really sure what we
simplicity
missed,
of just...
but...
I like tag by level. I think when you get into all the nitty gritty, did you hear this? It just creates this anxiety of, am I using this to the fullest extent? Are the emails I'm sending at cancellation expiration high quality? Or you wrote them 3 years ago, forget they exist, and everything's changed in your site. You don't realize people are still getting it. So Yeah, I think Christy is becoming our email czar in this team, and we'll keep an eye on all those things for us. But if you're a solo operator, like, I don't think you want to overcomplicate it to start. So TLDR, if you're using Constant Contact today, use the WP Fusion integration and just keep in touch. Lisa, I know you're in our Slack community and we've been talking. Thank you for all the talking. We like seeing new members come in and talk with us so much. It's fun. Yeah.
Chris is coming in late, but wants to know, what about a Combo Mail?
I've never heard of that.
How to say that? I've never heard of that one.
No, okay. A Combo Mail.
Chris has a lifetime deal with 500,000 mailings, unlimited subs per month.
Wow. Doesn't look like they have a WP Fusion integration. We'll take a note after this. It looks like they have, I don't see an integration with WP Fusion yet, but I bet if we told Jack, have you heard of a Combo Mail? If their API supported it, maybe there's a way to do it. But it's always possible to use an EMS that doesn't have an integration with WordPress, with Paid Memberships Pro, to send email. It just creates a manual step in between for you to bring your members list over. And that's a pain in the butt. But if you're taking advantage of this awesome lifetime deal, the solution would just be add a calendar reminder every Monday, every Wednesday of the week to export your members list email addresses, import to that system before the sends happen. I've done this in our own sites when we're kind of just list cleaning up, or we noticed there was a gap in information getting tracked. And the EMS is very good at not re-adding people that have been unsubscribed and not trying to send to them again. So that's an option. It's not the world's best option, but it is an option to export your members list. Paid Memberships Pro 3.7, the members list is built through a background process. So if you have a huge list and you're running these exports, you should have a more bulletproof setup now.
Awesome. For clarification, yes, WP Fusion is a plugin. If you get the WP Fusion Lite plugin, it will automatically talk to Paid Memberships Pro, and you can set those up together. Natasha said, did I miss it, or do you recommend getting WP Fusion with any EMS we choose? No. Short answer, no.
Short answer.
It depends on which EMS you choose. There are native integrations that we have versus using WP Fusion.
I have nothing else.
Did you have more to add about that? Or?
No, I wasn't frozen in time.
Okay. Randy says, I sent in a question about choosing email from Bluehost. Good idea or not? What more would I need to do? Did I see your question, Randy? Oh, I don't think I saw your question come in. That's okay. We can answer it now. Oh, Kim's frozen again. Okay, so it's the Sam talking show while Kim is frozen drinking her soda. So I guess this is in regards to, Randy, you're using Bluehost as the host for your site, and you're thinking about using them as your sending service for transactional emails. It's not a terrible idea, but it would possibly depend on what your, and now Kim's actually gone. It would depend on what they're actually offering as far as transactional emails go. PMPro hosting allows, I think it's like 250 transactional emails within a day. So I would look into what Bluehost offers on the plan that you're already on, and if it would be a good idea based on what members you already have. Also keep in mind, think about a year or two down the road of where you're going to be, like Kim was saying earlier. You don't want to get stuck in something that you may hopefully grow out of.
Yeah.
It's not.
Am I back?
Yes. You're kind of grainy for me at least, but you're back.
Am I grainy? How's my voice sound?
Your voice sounds fine. Your picture is a little rough. That's okay.
Just ignore my pixelated
We'll
self
forgive
today.
you.
Yeah. You can also set up your Bluehost site. Don't use their email sending service for transactional email. Purchase a Google business account with an email address mapped to your domain. So we are Paid Memberships Pro. We have Google business accounts. Kim at Paid Memberships Pro, Info at Paid Memberships Pro. We connect the Google SMTP for our Gmail business account to our WordPress site to send our transactional email. So if you're concerned about the Bluehost sending service, that's an option too. What I like about that is my info at email address. If I log into Gmail, I have this redundant history of emails sent and interacted with from our site. So I'm not sure if Bluehost is going to give you that additional log of email deliverability. The email log in Paid Memberships Pro will show you if an email was successful or failed, but that's really until it gets handed off to the mail server. You can have a second set of data of deliverability from the mail server itself to the recipient. So Gmail gives us that. Brevo gives you that. They have a transactional email report for emails sent. So see if you can get that with Bluehost as well, because you don't want this other point of failure or black box of how does this function. If my site handed off the transactional email to the mail server, did the mail server deliver the email to the person? We get bounces in our Gmail. So people sign up for free accounts at Paid Memberships Pro with fake email addresses, despite all of the akismet and spam checking we have. So we can see those bounces. Sometimes people sign up for paid accounts with a bounced email, and then Sam and her team have to go kind of see if they can logic out the right email address or find the right person.
We become quite the detectives. Sometimes I think I went into the wrong industry and I should be a detective, but
that's our next job.
In another life, yeah. Okay, I love how many comments are coming in. It's actually kind of like helped guide this chat a little bit. Okay, so WhistlePig Softworks. Any comments on the newsletter plugin and possible reputation issues if your email DNS records are properly configured? Maybe aren't properly configured?
Yeah. So newsletter plugin is going to prepare the email to send. You're still handing it off to some kind of sending service. So how are you sending? What's your sending service attached to that? Is it just an SMTP sending service? And is the email you sent technically a marketing email? And this is a real gray area, right? Because some people get away with it because their members really like them, are very engaged, aren't reporting their email as spam, aren't unsubscribing at massive numbers. So you can get away with the sending service not technically being a marketing email sending service in some cases. If you were a site like us and I told Gmail's SMTP, I have 55,000 emails for you to send, here, take them. No way, right? No way would that work at that scale. So yeah, there's no issues with it. If you all here have really great intentions, right? You're not spamming your members with garbage emails. The newsletter plug is including the right footers on those emails to identify the person. You mentioned DNS records. That's a whole fun topic about your DMARC and your SPF records and DKIM records that you have to set up so that when you send email, the email address itself is authenticated against the domain, that everything checks out there. All these little points before Gmail says like accept or reject. So yeah, I don't think there's issues with this setup. It is the spirit that you have with respect to the sending, the size of your list. You will outgrow a connected SMTP plugin for your site at some point. It's just the nature of it all. I mean, under the hood, everything is Amazon SES, which is Amazon sending service, almost everything. I won't say everything, but even the kit emails, they're not sending those themselves. They're handing them off to Amazon SES, and they're doing everything they can to manage their relationship with Amazon. And Amazon's doing everything it can to make sure Kit isn't pissing off Yahoo and Gmail and all these other places. So it's this weird environment of things. But yeah, be good. Don't spam your members. It'll probably work if you have less than, I don't know, does newsletter plugin throttle distribution? Maybe.
I don't know much about the newsletter plugin, to be honest.
Yeah.
That'll be something that we can find out later.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am probably gonna butcher this name too. I swear I was a teacher in one day of my life. But Nalia is wondering, I'd love to on workflow. Maybe you have tutorials there. If you could give us a little bit more information of like what kind of workflow you're talking about, whether it's specifically of getting like an EMS set up or if it's some other workflow, just if you could put another comment to give us a little more information, that would be great.
I am thinking about recording a course as a companion to that massive one-day workshop that I didn't get to give you today. But if you meant what we're talking about here, broken down as a course format, keep bugging me in the Slack channel and I'm going to get to it. The hardest part now is like making the time and recording it all. And I'm not good at being succinct. So I'm working on my course presenter skills.
I am going through the comments in order. So if you haven't heard me get to your comment yet, you do not need to repost it. I will answer it as well, I promise. If other people want to chime in on the answer, they're more than welcome to. I don't know how to say this name. I'm butchered again. Mariella. That's not right. Yep. But do you love Kit? Is it easy to use? Easy is not a word we use in our vocabulary.
But yeah.
And this is also very unpaid.
Right?
We do use it. I do find it pretty easy, but my easy is not your easy.
Yeah. We haven't run into we have run into some situations in Kit where we've accidentally sent an email because I find that their schedule to send process is a little confusing and it jumps. I don't know. We've had that happen to us, sadly, but for the most part.
We've also had some issues where like we change a link and it doesn't keep the changes. And it's like sometimes we have to change the link 2, 3, 4 times before it finally accepts the changes that we've made. But I mean, all software is going to have some issue somewhere. Nothing is ever perfect, you know, even if it's AI generated, it's not going to be perfect. So, yeah, that's more of definitely an opinion question.
Yeah. That brings up the whole idea of like designing your email and also testing on mobile and desktop. We could talk for days about that. But yeah, we did just recently have an issue with Kit where our emails, the links were not working if people were using mobile data to click the link, but they were working when people were using like home Wi-Fi, and Kit had to move our account to a different server. How weird is that, right? But that is like one of these test your emails, test them on your phone when it's in night mode, and the dark version, test it during the day, test it on your desktop.
Oh, we also had a thing where in my iCloud email, it would always show like a weird ConvertKit.mail something with like a redirect to the link, but then everybody else in every other email saw the actual Pages Pro link that it was supposed to be. So I don't know what it is with Apple that wants to like put that extra URL piece in there, but it's interesting. Okay, so back to Doug about privacy. Privacy with respect to the member having an at-will participation, and as a site owner, I would want to protect the member from being exposed email outside the site niche. So I think this sounds more of like the EMS like selling your members' information.
Oh yeah, I haven't heard of that with any of the ones we're talking about here. I haven't had that concern or seen that. And as far as that at-will participation, that's if you're making people opt in either at checkout or before their first email is sent, they have to confirm their list subscription.
Oh no, she's gone again.
Or giving pieces to this that are covered by most of the EMS. Am I frozen again? How disappointing.
We can hear you again.
I was frozen again. I switched to mobile data. I don't know if that was the right choice. Sam, you want to take it from here.
I don't know what you're talking about. I can't take Doug's question from you. I'm sorry. But I can probably take other questions.
Cool.
But in regards to selling data, I have not heard of the companies that we're talking about doing that. So
doing that. Yeah.
We should be okay on that. Robert wants to know, their goal is to maximize the use of automations to reduce admin burden. Are Kit and Mailchimp the top ones for that? Others we should also look at. I mean, this isn't going to help narrow down your options, Robert, but with the way that other CMSs or EMSs and CRMs also connect with WP Fusion, you can go even deeper sometimes with automations because of the different tagging that WP Fusion allows. If you look at that integration with PMPro, Kit and Mailchimp, like we said, are going to be the main two that are really popular in the WordPress space. But that doesn't mean that's definitely the top ones for automation to reduce admin burden. And it all depends on what your admin is needing to do. Another question from Robert is, email is king, but we suspect many emails are unread. What's the best way to add SMS and automated voice calls to those with low email open? Kim mentioned.
Yeah. So of the ones yeah, go ahead.
No, you can go.
Omnisend and Brevo have text messaging. Yeah.
I don't know about automated calls though.
I don't know of any that do automated calls. And even with the text messaging, I've seen people have problems getting a phone number that can support bulk text messaging and the hoops to jump through legally to become like a bulk messenger. But I would look at Omnisend and Brevo if those are features of communication that you want to leverage in one place alongside email marketing.
Okay, Lisa,
I was frozen drinking my seltzer water.
Yes, you were frozen drinking you were having a short ad for your seltzer. While I talked about EMS. Elisa is wondering, what are the additional costs for transactional emails in excess of $250 a day on PMPro hosting? Because it would happen occasionally during their yearly intake. Reach out to me either in Slack, because I know, Lisa, you're in Slack, or I think you also have my email because we've had a meeting before. But reach out to me specifically on what you would need so we can determine the additional costs.
Yeah, if it's not a day-to-day thing, I think they could put a limit update on that hosting account. Our sending service will go through the PMPro sending service through to Amazon SES. So for huge membership sites that need transactional email, we plan to set up a dedicated email server for their domain and then connect Amazon SES as the mail server sending piece of things. So I don't think you'd be at that scale or need that if it's an infrequent event. But if it's a frequent event, what our plan is that we would replicate the setup we have that's a shared email server setup to make it a dedicated email setup for just those sites that need it.
Okay, back to the hosting, handling your email transactions. They have Cloudways hosting and an integration with Rackspace email. A little confused if you're saying to get something like a business Google email instead of Rackspace.
So not every host offers any email sending. So like a SiteGround, for example, doesn't in their main plans offer any sending service or connect a sending service to it. So if you have Rackspace set up with your Cloudways hosting, you wouldn't need to set up any additional SMTP service unless you're finding that there's issues with it. If you're finding there's issues with it, it may be that they've put you on a shared Rackspace server IP where there's some other bad actor doing bad things and affecting your deliverability. Yeah, so you don't have to do the Google SMTP business account. It's just relatively in line with the cost of what other hosts are going to upsell a email sending service package for it, but it's something you completely own. And then you're not at risk of those bad actors impacting your deliverability. So yeah, a Google Business account, I think, costs under $20 a month.
Yeah, it's cheap. And then also, if you're a nonprofit, I think Jason did a YouTube short that is actually free if you're a nonprofit. So that's just another option for you if that's the boat that you're in. Cool. Okay, so how you say her name is Maria. Thank you for putting that like pronunciation in the comments. I appreciate that.
I love that.
It's a very pretty name. Yes, Doug, easy is definitely relative for who is doing it. Just to note, Natasha, this is not normal behavior for Kim's computer.
It's not.
Natasha said she likes to freeze. This is not our normal live stream. But we work out through the kinks, so it is okay. And this is definitely not the norm.
I did joke. I was like, maybe we'll record this live stream. Yeah. This is not going to be the course. We are not splicing this into a course where I'm like,
no, we would not doing that.
Oh, okay. We have Nelia's workflow needed. Okay, cool. That's good.
Okay, I'm just reading through some of the chatter. I love this chatter. I don't think we've ever had a live stream with this much chatter, and it is.
We have never had this much chat. We don't even know what to do with ourselves. We need a chat moderator in addition to us.
I know. Okay, so in regards to Naliel's workflow question that we talked about earlier, workflow for setting up, creating the segment and tags for members, and then processes for membership levels, setting up sequences, broadcasts for those letters, especially paid and unpaid. I think that is the course that Kim is talking about.
Yeah. It'll be
it would vary again from EMS to EMS, but the overall idea would be there.
That'd be fun.
It would be fun.
I can speed run through whatever remain. Oh yeah.
We can't speed run, but there's just so many comments, and like, I mean, this discussion is really, really fun. We can post the rest of your presentation on the blog post as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I guess I should talk about.
Marielle is setting up PMPro with WooCommerce. Does what you're saying about WP Fusion, etc., with the integration still apply? Yes, it also depends on how you're using WooCommerce with PMPro, may need their so reach out to us. There's two major use cases for using WooCommerce and PMPro.
Fusion integrates with WooCommerce, but it's possible that you would need to pay for their WooCommerce stuff. It's not native in WooCommerce the way that it is in PMPro, but it's a worthwhile purchase for sure. Jack's a great guy. It's a great code.
You broke up a little bit. From what I gathered in that breakup was that WooCommerce does integrate with WP Fusion. But again, if you reach out to us on our contact form or in the Slack community, or even in a support ticket, we can get you more information, more detailed information. And then just a note, since we talked about Google's nonprofit is for free, you can also apparently sign up for Microsoft 365 as a nonprofit for free as well.
Oh, nice.
Really fun. I'm going to add your screen back, and we're going to speed run what you have left, and then we'll talk about what's coming up for the next PMPro event.
Yeah, I'm like, what's important, what's not. This I just want to touch on because we're talking about marketing email sent to your members, but these, at any point, if I freeze, Sam, just say, stop.
Okay.
Email is also a great top of funnel lead gen source, right? So we're talking about what should you use to send marketing type email to your members, but also think of email as a way to engage people before they become members. So when you're choosing a platform, they all support this, but it won't be done through the PMPro integration. It'll be some kind of an embedded form. But think about email also before membership checkout, getting people on a list of some kind for those visitors. I once was talking to a content agency and they were like, oh, do you capture email addresses for people interested in PMPro? And I was like, well, it's free. They can just sign up for free. And then she said to me, like, maybe that's too big of an ask. That's like too far down the experience, the funnel for them. And I was like, oh, like maybe people just want some email from us before they're even, choosing their software or choosing to get the download for free. So think about that with your membership as well. Whatever EMS you choose, there'll be some segment of users, subscribers that are not, I messed this up. Okay. Whatever EMS you choose, there will be some segment of people on that list potentially that are not yet users or members in your WordPress site. Some portion of them are prospective members. So how are we adding forms to our site to allow people to sign up for just newsletter information before they've even become a member? And what are we doing with those non-member subscribers in our EMS? How are we engaging them? So we talked about tagging. There's also like negative tagging. So in your EMS, you can often say everyone without a tag PMPro free, and it would exclude all of those people. And you could send a bespoke message to them or trigger a sequence to them. So think about if you have list subscribers that you need to convert and what kind of automation sequence, one-time emails, sale emails are you sending to them? And then on the membership site side, how are you allowing people to join a mailing list only without creating a membership in your site? And these 5 questions, I'm going to skip over this. We will probably put these slides in some format on the post, but I'm going to do like an ebook version, which I think will just be a more complete than bullet points on a list. But I'll wrap this up. Sam's going to drop in a link to that quiz. There's also all the add-ons that are email focused and then asking more in Slack. Ultimately, it's your decision what EMS you choose, but I think we can get other community members to either give you positive experiences with some of the platforms you're choosing, challenging experiences that they've had, or why they switched or why they made that decision. So we can kind of crowdfund the decision making for you. Do we have that in chat?
Yes, I am. I'm linking a whole bunch of things. Randy was asking about offering a free membership after course completion of a Zoom course. And so I sent the code recipe of changing a membership level on cancellation or expiration to give that free level out when they expire.
Yes, maybe the Zoom course is even more outside the membership site. I'm not sure. Yeah, if you sell
I've
the
had
Zoom
email
course,
conversations with Randy before.
Oh,
and we talked about the Zoom courses being a level, and then when that level
see this inside baseball. This is what you get when you get in our community, and Sam knows you by face and name and business. I don't know how she keeps it in her brain.
I keep it all up here. It's
I told her when we're in our 60s, we're gonna like have the Men in Black zap our brain, and then we're just gonna sit around and put our feet in the beach in the sand.
Or we'll be sitting in the beach and in our 60s we'll be like, do you remember that one PMPro site?
Remember Randy? And the Zoom courses, how cool is that? No, maybe. You don't get to choose what you forget.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Kim, you want to go ahead and bring up our live page?
Yes.
Oh, the other thing I was going to drop in the chat was I would love to keep this conversation that we're having in the YouTube chat going on our Slack community. So I'm dropping the link to, that's the wrong link. But I mean, you can have that link. That's the,
you get a link.
That was the link to the quiz again. Here's the link to the Slack to join it. Let's keep this conversation going because this is obviously a topic that people are confused about. There's a lot of information to consider. And it'd be really fun to get the over 1,500 people in the Slack community talking about this. So let's do that.
Nice.
We'll be around all day to talk about it in midst of adding and rehauling the documentation as well. Anyway, What's next? I think there's actually a Coding with Sam and an open co-working before.
Should I just go here?
You go to the calendar view, yeah.
Okay.
For April, perfect. All right, so we do have
next week
about
is
a
off.
week of a break. That's very unusual. I guess I did that on purpose for myself. Go me. But April 7th, we have the open co-working for our community. You do have to be in the Slack community to join that. And I do require a minimum of 2 RSVPs in Slack prior to the co-working to keep it on the calendar. So I will put a thread in the community. If you comment on that thread, that's your RSVP, you're in, and I will put your name on a list to send you an email for the Google Meet link. That way you don't have to necessarily go back into Google or into Slack to get the Google Meet link to join us. So you get kind of like a personal way in if you do RSVP with me. And then the next event we have on YouTube is Coding with Sam on April 10th. That is a great place to dive into a code recipe, very much like the one I sent Randy in the chat, which I think I may have done that one before, but if not, that would be a fun one to do.
I think so.
If you're not comfortable with tweaking a little bit of code on your site, this is the stream for you to see it happen in real time. If I can do it live on YouTube with no coding background, you can do it on your membership site. And then the next open office hours is going to be April 16th. And let's see, what's this one about? Choosing a host. So very similar to this conversation, I'm going to have Dale Mugford, who is our lead developer for PMPro hosting, on the stream with me. He's going to be presenting how you choose a host, what different hosts offer, what PMPro hosting offers, and just giving you a side-by-side comparison of understanding what all goes into hosting, because that's something that even I've been working with PMPro for almost 4.5 years now, and I'm learning now what all of these hosting technical details are. It's confusing. It's a lot. It can be really overwhelming, much like the EMS conversation that we're having. So this will be helpful to choosing your host. It is okay to switch hosts if you're already on a host. That is at least with PMPro hosting, a much easier swap than an EMS or your membership site software. So
yeah,
that'll be a fun topic.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. I am very sorry for the technical difficulties. I don't know what it was caused by. My children aren't even home draining my internet on Roblox, so I don't even know why it was bad. But in any case, I appreciate everyone hanging out with us. Sam, thank you for pitching in when I disappeared to drink seltzer water for a moment there. We will see you next week in person. We will see you in the Slack community today, Slack community all next week. And then hopefully a lot of you come to our co-work. It sounds scary. You're just like, what does that mean? But it's like literally like this, except instead of just in chat, you're like on a voice call with us, and you don't have to have your camera on if you don't want to, but most people do.
You don't have to have your voice on. You can type while we talk back to you.
We've had people just sit and mute and type to us with no picture on. It's not the most fun for me. I would rather meet you, but I will talk to your chat if we have.
And this is how I know the name and the face and the company and what the site niche is, because I am on those calls talking to everybody. So it's really fun. It's great to meet everybody and have that sense of community, because at somewhere along the road, you have run into some kind of struggle with building your membership site, and you have an entire community behind you to help figure it out.
And if you're ever like until walking around and you, oh, go ahead. No.
Oh, no, you go ahead. No, I was gonna sit and stream.
You should hit end stream. I'm good before my internet cuts out.
Thank you, everybody. See you next time.
I hope you got some value out of what you just watched. If you're serious about building a profitable membership site, the fastest way to launch or scale is with a premium plan at paidmembershipspro.com. We've made it as affordable as possible to get started, and most people who upgrade stick with us for years. Why? Because they're making money, and we keep delivering expert support, premium add-ons, and a private community of over 1,000 creators building businesses just like yours. Click the link to compare plans or keep learning. We'll see you in the next video.